Hello there friends, so today we're doing a truck headliner. If you're watching this video, you probably have the same problem, right? Mark in the comments, okay, yeah, in the comments, right. That's my truck headliner right there. So that's what we're gonna do. So let's go. We're working outside today because headliners tend to be very, very messy. If you want to make a big mess that you have to clean up off the floor, I wouldn't recommend doing it inside a house. It's better to do it somewhere where you don't mind it getting dirty. So first thing we're doing here is we're just going to strip off all the material. After stripping off the material, we got to get rid of all that foam. So what a lot of people don't realize is that when the headliner falls, it's because the fabric here has separated from the foam. That's always the problem, 100% of the time. So a lot of people, they say, oh, well, my headliner fell down. Can't I just glue it back up again? That answer would be, you can, but I wouldn't. And a lot of guys, what they do, I even saw one video where somebody had something in a syringe that they were trying to squirt up inside the headliner with some kind of glue in a syringe. And can you imagine the mess that probably made for the person later on that really had to do what I'm doing right now? The other thing that I would not do is put the new headline material over the old foam. You know, always remember, like I say, you can if you want, but I wouldn't do that. Especially when I have a paying customer. I'd hate to have a paying customer be really upset with me later on because I didn't do it right. And I'm supposed to be a professional business person. So what we're going to do is we're going to just do it right. You know, when I have a customer, I tell them that I'll do it for this high price. Then they're thinking, oh, it's a high price. But then I explain to them that I've been doing this for 43 years. And I don't take any shortcuts. I do it right. Which means that the other people might be taking shortcuts. But I tell them that I don't. I do it right the first time. I remove it from the vehicle. I take off the headliner, strip off all the old foam. And then what I really do is I wait 24 hours after I install the new material to let the glue set up and dry really good. Because what happens is if you have fresh glue on your headliner and you wanted to put it back up the same day, when you're holding the headliner like this with your fingers, you're going to leave dents. And that would look terrible. So anyway, I let the customer know what they're getting for their money. So this is where the going gets tough. Is I use a wire brush like this, or sometimes I have a nylon brush. I can't find it, so I guess I'm stuck with using this one. But we're just going to rub this down really good and get rid of this foam. This is what we're going to do across the whole headliner. So you can see I really got rid of the foam. It's pretty smooth. That's what we want. I got to take a little break from scraping. Not as young as I used to be. So anyway, by the way, don't ask me how much I charge for a headliner. I almost on all my videos, somebody's always like, well, how much do you charge for this? And then I always have to write back to them, well, first of all, it's going to depend on the person that's doing the work in your area, their skill, and then also their experience, the cost of materials, the design of the item that you're working on, and really the location. Because what somebody might charge in Oregon, the price will be different in Florida. So that's the reason why I never give prices on the items that I'm working on. Well, I had to give in to the heat. It's supposed to be like 104 today in East Texas with high humidity. So I was outside and it was getting pretty hot. So anyway, move inside, nice air conditioned office space here. So anyway, this is technique number 8,945. Okay, what that is, technique number 8,945, what we do is we take the scraper, and what we do is we pull it. The first initially, what we'll do is we'll pull it towards us. See, that strips it away pretty good. So the reason I say that is because if you push, it's a lot harder to push than it is to pull. Just to make your life a little easier. You can thank me later in the comments. I know that I'm going to be making my mess inside now. So what I'm going to be doing then, I suppose, is either contain the foam and then take it outside and dump it, or probably use my vacuum cleaner. So now for technique number 8,946. It's another technique of scraping. So if you're a body man and you do body work, you know that if you take the sanding block on your Bondo when you're cutting down your body filler, some guys they'll sand in one direction and dig a hole, right? Or what they'll do is they'll do like a combination of going sideways and then going in a circle. Or this is my technique right here, is when you do an X pattern, you do this direction for a while, then you do this direction for a while. That way you don't get any low spots. Okay, so anyway, it's kind of the same thing here with my scraping. Because you're doing an X pattern, what you're doing is you're like double cutting. You see that? Does that make any sense? So let's try that. I would say that there's at least 3 different types of foam on these headliners. There's going to be the foam like what I'm doing right here, right now, that sticks really well, and it's very difficult to get off. The second type is comes on some foreign cars, like BMW, where the foam is very sticky and it's really nasty stuff. It's like getting syrup on your fingers. And if you're like me, you don't like syrup getting all over your hands when you're eating your pancake breakfast, right? So anyway, that's kind of what it's like. It's a real nasty, sticky mess. The other one, surprisingly, is the type of foam that comes off really easy. And I wish that's what I had here, but I'm not so lucky with this one. I'm thinking that it's going to take me a good part of at least an hour to get all this foam off. So I'm not going to bore you guys with that. So I'll just come back when I'm almost done. Well, here we are about an hour later. Oh, wow. A lot of work. Now you see what I mean? I wasn't kidding. This is the mess that's typical with scraping down a headliner. What a mess. So it's all in the prep work here. It's kind of like if you did a brand new paint job over bad body work. It would look terrible, right? So we want to prep the surface of this here, so that way we don't see lumps and bumps and little jumps all over the place. So with this kind of a prep, we'll have a nice smooth surface. What we're using here is a foam backed headliner material. It's got a 4-way stretch because we got a lot of concave curves going on here. So we got a whole lot of stretching going on. So anyway, this is where I get it from. That's what it is. You can do a web search. Okay, I get a lot of questions. Where do I get my materials? So anyway, they ship all over the country. There we go. We're all done. Oh, what about the glue, you say? Aren't you going to glue that on? Oh, yeah, I guess we better do that. So I always get 100 questions all the time because nobody ever reads the comments. You need to read the comments. So anyway, what kind of glue do you use? Okay, I only use contact adhesive. Okay, and how do I apply it? I apply it with a cheapo Harbor Freight spray gun. Okay, it's not rocket science, I keep telling everybody. Everybody wants to know, what size tip do you use? What size needle do you use? It's not rocket science. How often do you clean your gun? Oh, never. I just clean the tip every now and then. Do you have to thin the glue? No, you don't have to thin the glue. Just pour it right into the cup. And then you can spray it. And that's what I've been doing for 43 years. If you don't have a spray gun, you could probably use a brush. You know, and if you don't want to buy the big can, you could probably buy the quart at the big box store. It's a contact adhesive. What you don't want to use is don't use the spray can adhesive that says, it sounds like 3 men, super 70 something. Okay, don't use that. Warning, warning. It never works. It'll always fail on you. You'll be wasting your time. So now that I got all that behind me, let's go ahead and glue this up. Now is technique number 329. What that is when we go to glue the material, what I do is I fold it in half. Like this. What we do is we do half and half. So what I will do is I'll glue half of the headliner, set it, fold the other half, and set it. So here we go. Be sure that everything gets coated. There's no dry spots or bald spots or spots where there's no glue. Because remember, where there's no glue, it won't stick. Okay? So you got to make sure that you get everything. What's common with contact adhesive is usually people will say, well, you have to spray down both sides, let it sit for 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, but when you're doing something like this with foam, you don't have to wait. Matter of fact, it's better if you don't wait. Because when you're going soft to soft like this, you want that glue to not be dry. Because what you want it to do is you want it to stick real well. If it's too dry, it won't stick as well. So what I usually do is I start in the middle, and you can notice that I have a flat hand. Okay, I'm never going to put my fingertips down like this because of the fresh glue. I'll get dents. Okay, so with a flat hand, starting in the center and in the middle, just start pressing it down, and we're going to want to press it real well. Because you want to make sure all that glue is going to stick. Where you don't press, it's not going to stick. So just go around the whole thing. Give it a nice massage. Now we're going to do the same thing to the other half. So back to technique number 329 again, folding it in half. Go ahead and spray this side. And let's go ahead and lay this other half down. Again, starting from the center with a flat hand. So I just wanted to show an example of something. So just imagine, you see that bubble right there? Okay, I had to turn some lights off so that way you could see the shadows. So anyway, there's a bubble right there on that inside corner. So that could happen if you didn't put enough glue. It's not going to stick where there's no glue, right? Said that before. Okay, also, if you didn't press down on everything well enough, that's why I always stress, make sure it's pressed down everywhere well enough. So if you missed a spot, it could look like that. You got an air bubble. Okay, so of course what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that everything is pressed down really nice, right? Look at that. So I'm just showing you what not to do. Don't forget, always press everything down very well. We have another technique coming up. So for this technique, This technique is number 292. So what this technique is for headliners, see if I can turn this thing around, is from the factory, what they do is they trim the material right to the edge. Right to the edge. Okay, so what happens is over the years it peels from the edge and it falls down, and mostly from the head, the windshield side, and also like say the driver and passenger door side is where it'll start peeling away. So what the technique number 292 is we're going to wrap this material all the way around it, so that way it's impossible for it to pull away in the future. So I guess we're making it better than factory, right? Next is trimming away all the excess material. Want to make sure that we have plenty of overlap. What I do is on the outside corner like this, I usually do like a 45-degree cut. And when it goes like an inside curve like that, I put a few little relief cuts. Another technique, I guess. Now we're just going to wrap all the edges. So now for technique number 79. What technique number 79 is when you wrap something like this, when you have a straight edge, okay, what you don't do, okay, you don't pull on it like this and then set it like that. Okay, because what that'll end up doing is it'll have the wavy motion. Okay, you probably wouldn't see it, but you know what? We don't want that, right? You see the wavy motion right there? So what the technique is, technique number 79, is you take your flat hand, and what you do is you roll the material over like that. Just roll it over. I have to pull this one, right? Because of that. Okay, but for the rest of it, we're just going to roll it over like that. Just do that all the way around. Now we have all the edges are wrapped, right? Do you see what I'm saying? It'll never come apart. I'm just loading you up with techniques today. So next is technique number 521, when you need to cut holes. Okay, so like here's the center console. Here's a hole here for the sun visor, as well as here in a dome light. So what I do is from the back side is where I cut my hole. I don't cut it from the front side. And what I do is I leave just a little bit of material there. It's not going to hurt anything. I don't cut it right to the edge. Just like that. There's no guessing, right? If you're cutting from the front side like this, you're wondering, well, where's the edge? Where if you cut it from the back side, there it is. No guessing. The last advice I have to give about this would be to wait before you install it. So what I usually do is I'll let this sit overnight and let that glue dry. Like I said, I don't want to get any kind of a finger dents in the material here. That would look bad, and that would ruin all my effort. Oh wow, look at that. That's a headliner. So anyway, like I was saying,